Yo, it's Rob, creator and host of Shonen Showdown. Welcome to episode 2 of Anime Middle Ground, the series inspired by Jubilee's YouTube channel. Make sure you guys check them out. Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen are two titans in the new gen anime space. But today, we're gonna find out which series is better than the other.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Edwin, and I'm from the Hashida Podcast, and you can catch us on YouTube and Twitter at Hashida Podcast.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pari. You can catch me as Pari.cecc on all my socials or on Senpai Talk Show. I'm a co-host, and I'm also known as the Manga Mama.
With that said, I'm also part of the Senpai Talk Show podcast on Twitch. We stream every Sundays, but I'm like Kumar. All my socials are at Kumar_Sutra, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, any socials. And I'm just happy to be here to talk about anime.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Anime Sundays here. Show we talk about anime on Sundays. You can follow me all socials, Anime X Sundays, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and looking forward to this debate.
What's up, everybody? My name is Kezzy Jones. You can follow me on Instagram at isthatkezzy. I'm here to talk about anything Hasha related or anything, talking about some anime. Follow me at AnimeXBoo on all socials for anything anime content related. Yeah.
Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Ryan Date, aka Date Ryan Sama on Twitch and on Twitter. I'm a member of the Hashida Podcast. We talk all things anime and nerd, and I'm here to talk just that with these lovely people right here. So I'm excited to be here.
Can I get my Demon Slayer fans to the left and Jujutsu Kaisen fans to the right? I believe Demon Slayer is overrated.
Oh boy.
It's solid. Yeah, not gonna vote it.
The movie is
It's pretty good to me.
Can I have my disagreeers?
So I think we're all.
Yeah,
we're all disagreeing.
Obviously, right here.
We're all
I sat right here last time,
Yeah,
so it's all good.
It's good. It's great. It's amazing. Put my leg up.
I'm gonna start off by saying that I think obviously we're here to talk about anime, and I don't think I've heard that many bad things about JJK and Demon Slayer in general. So I'm a fan of both shows. I just think I lean towards JJK for other reasons, obviously. But the prompt at hand is Demon Slayer overrated? No, I think it deserves all the hype it gets.
Who is your favorite character from Jujutsu Kaisen and why?
My favorite character in Jujutsu Kaisen is definitely Yuuji Itadori. As a main character, I think in a lot of shonen you don't get to see people who are actually acknowledge like the fear of death, and Yuuji blatantly showed that. I think that was really not deep, but it was very relatable. Like, who isn't scared to die? So I think that's very interesting that they gave him that sort of character trait in a shonen anime, especially.
Even if we don't use our opinion, the budget that the movie had versus how much it made in the records, it says enough. The show is really not
And
overrated.
I want to add something too. I don't really think Demon Slayer is an overrated anime. I think it's the new, I've heard this on Shonen Showdown myself, but it's the new gateway anime for a lot of people nowadays. So it's the first one that people rush to. So it's going to get looked at as overrated, but it's not really overrated.
I say once upon a time, Demon Slayer was overrated. Once upon a time, when it was kind of still airing and they didn't have the full season out, there was a lot of influence into community. Like, people came out of nowhere before the first season was over, and I feel like that is where a lot of the consensus comes from. Like, oh, Demon Slayer is overhyped. It's only got 20 episodes out, and people are saying it's one of the top anime ever. That is where I say, okay, I can see where that prompt could be a general consensus. But after you look at it as a whole and compare it to, especially a lot of other new generation animes now, it's not overrated. It is rightfully where I believe it has its place.
But that's the thing with it. It's not just the fact that it's good in what it is, but have you seen it? Have you watched it? Have you seen the actual scenes happening? I was like, what? I was actually telling Ed, I was like, when you watch it, every single panel, if you pause it, I can put it on my wall. This looks that good every single time I see it.
Muzan is a better antagonist than Sukuna.
That's a hot one. Muzan is a better antagonist than Sukuna. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. See all that blood you put in that woman's head?
All right, so obviously some of us took a little longer.
So the ones that got quickly will go first.
Yes, absolutely.
Sukuna isn't the antagonist of JJK. Right now he's not developed to the point that he is. Mahito, on the other hand, Mahito, is actually developed as a current running antagonist, and he's being built more. Kind of like Shigaraki is being built in MHA to take over All For One as the main antagonist. The same thing is right now happening with Mahito. Sukuna is a wild card.
Yep.
Even in the manga, he's still a wild card. There's still no idea of what his goal is. Versus Muzan, he's got a goal.
Yeah.
He's like, I just want to walk in the sun, and I will do anything I can to do that. So
Yeah, you literally took the words out of my mouth. Like saying Sukuna's the biggest antagonist in JJK is like saying Kurama's the biggest antagonist in Naruto. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not like maybe once upon a time there was the big oh my god, what are we gonna do about this demon and in the MC? But he's not even that pressed anymore about making Itadori's life miserable. Like he's more impressed about Megumi now, as we see in the anime. I'm not as caught up on the manga. So that's what I get from Kasuna. But Muzan, that's a bad
Don't do it.
guy. You know what I'm saying?
Because he looks like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Is that what he's bad, so he's bad, right?
His whole when they really gave you his his kind of first premise as the top dog, taking out his own top 10. I was like, yo, this guy's he's not the one that we're gonna want to see right now. Okay.
What made Jujutsu Kaisen stand out from the rest of the new gen anime?
What made Jujutsu Kaisen stand out from the rest of the new gen are 1, the characters, 2, I believe the complicity of the abilities, and of course Gojo. Come on.
It took me a bit to obviously I hung back a bit because clearly Sukuna has evil in him. He's an evil entity. But like you guys explained, he is still the wild card because he's in this boy's body and he still has to deal with the fact that this child is going to use me for his good deeds when he has to. Whereas the word antagonist, in the sense of the anime for Demon Slayer, Muzan is the big baddie of the show immediately.
I believe the animation in Demon Slayer is better than Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh,
I'm only agreeing,
I'm here.
even though I am Team JJK. Demon Slayer does have that different artistic style when the Demon Slayers pull up with their powers.
Yep.
Obviously when Tanjiro uses a sword technique, they have that cool water stroke brush effect with those, and the animation obviously, and Ufotable, being Ufotable, they have credit where credit's due in putting out quality animation with things like the Fate series and all that. But I think obviously we all know Mappa does incredible work. Y'all need to do something about the work environment there. But that's another debate.
Say that.
But
I see you.
Mappa, I'm no way taking anything from Mappa and what they do. All the fight scenes are incredible. The animation, the Sakuga is immaculate. But I think Demon Slayer, to me, I'm able to enjoy different styles within their fighting in terms of the art and how they present it.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me with Demon Slayer, like I said, every single panel is great. As opposed to other animes where they drop, where you could for example, as a saying that we say on the podcast, when you see cubes in animation, you know it's going down.
Yeah.
The thing with Demon Slayer is every single part of it looks good. Even when he's potato head Tanjiro, everything looks good. The lines are always pronounced properly. The shadows are done right. Everything looks good all the time. In JJK and other animes like that, when it's downtime, you can tell it's downtime as opposed to when it's go time and everything looks absolutely amazing. Demon Slayer doesn't have that. It always looks good. Even in the background, you see the birds flying, you can tell it's like a different dimension as opposed to where everything looks good all the time. Even just Inosuke running back and forth, you see it in like the actual differences. So I think that's what, to me, makes Demon Slayer kind of better animated.
Which do you prefer, old gen anime or new gen anime?
Ooh, come on, man. That's a tough one. I think for the nostalgia, I prefer old gen anime. But unfortunately, when it comes to all the things that we want in anime, new gen anime do it better. We don't have these long, drawn out pauses of nothing and unnecessary amounts of filler. New gen anime find a better way to pace things too. Like you get 24 episodes of everything you want as opposed to 50 episodes of everything you don't, plus some of the things you really like.
Can I have my disagreeers?
Yes. If I can, mind if I go first on this one? All right, so this is my problem. This is a new occurring problem, and I realized this while actually rewatching the show for this debate. So I do believe the animation can be too good. And with saying that, I believe that, like you said, even when he's potato head Tanjiro, it looks good. There are moments when I believe it's like, it's good and it's great, but I believe it just seems, for me, it feels a little too much when I'm watching it and they're not doing anything and it looks like, oh my gosh, priceless animation. I'm not mad at it at all, but I feel like it makes it, sometimes some of the scenes are supposed to be like when Muzan's killing somebody, it's like, okay, I get it. That's crazy graphic. Now when they're just chilling and laughing amongst each other, it almost makes the show get a goofy aesthetic, which is probably what they're going for, but for me, it feels like too much. With JJK, like you said, they have their downtime and then they got I'm gonna go. It's go time. When the downtime is there, it feels normal, it feels right, it's a relaxing process. It's like, okay, I don't feel like they're trying to shove great graphics down my throat.
See, he says that there's a humbleness that comes from manga when they bring it back to like normal like anime style cartoons.
Slice of life.
Yeah, like that's the aesthetic. Now, for me personally, I don't necessarily agree that the animation is better because I feel like there's different elements of animation in general.
Okay.
So, for example, when you look at Demon Slayer as a whole, the animation is very pushed by the director. So the way they direct the show makes the animation look phenomenal because the way they give you the certain parts, the certain slices, and the aesthetics of the water and the fire, the camera movement following them, that gives you a lot of great appreciation for the animation. Whereas Mappa, it's almost like they're taking you back to like DBZ a little bit. They're taking you back to that old school, like, we don't even really need to do as much, but look how crazy we can give you this great battle, this great moment. Like, I always appreciate one specific, like a very specific moment I appreciate in JJK animation is Yuuji drooling in front of the curse as he's practicing the black match. That may not be the crisp, cleanest thing you ever saw in your life, but I feel like the fact that they took the time to give you a dead look in his eyes, the drool pouring out of the bottom of his jaw and slightly coming off his chin, to me gave you and then there's another element of animation too, choreography. The way they put the fights together, I think is a big part. To me, I think like the way they choreograph the battles is a little better in JJK, so I appreciate their
Red Goku?
But
before we even get there,
he's saying something really Tanjiro.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Yeah, that was
he's saying something really valid because you got to also take into whatever, you get what I'm saying.
I rarely get hyped about
swordsmanship.
fighting. He gets hyped about fighting, but I got hyped about Red Goku. I was more
hyped against Yuuji and Todo versus Spirit.
But I think what that is, and what you're saying, and I think that you disagreeing for the stance you took makes a lot of sense. But I will say, I think when we're talking objectivity and subjectivity, what it is you are giving the direction of art its props and not necessarily the animation as a whole. So the direction of art in JJK makes sense. Like you said, let's lull you down when it's watered down. And then when it's time to go, it's such a big jump that it makes a lot of sense. And we're gonna zoom in on the drool. We're gonna zoom in on the changes. We're gonna let you see all the choreography as they were going over all the branches and stuff like that when they move it. See, now that's more direction of art as opposed to animation. Animation in Demon Slayer is amazing, and I think it stays amazing all the time. And when it goes up another level, it goes up another level. I didn't even think there's another level after the show, and then you watch the movie and you're like, holy cow, there's another level. So the thing with JJK, it's like it's literally the direction of art that you're saying that you like a lot better, and I feel like that's also because of the difference in the paces. Demon Slayer is traditional old school samurais moving in a way that they're probably not moving as fast as these guys are because they're supernatural running all over the place. It's a big thing.
You gotta think about it, because in swordsmanship, it's not gonna look as fancy as you ever utilizing every part of your body. You know, it's gonna look different. Like, boom.
But I also, for me personally, I also thought that the movie was the greatest animation they ever did. So like for me, this is my personal, I was semi-impressed throughout the show. Until they got to episode 19 and Faru, then I was like, okay, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
But I didn't get like super impressed until
that movie.
And even in the movie of Red Goku, I was still more impressed with the animation of Tanjiro and Inosuke fighting the lower
on top of the train.
Yeah, on the train. I was more impressed because the Rengoku animation, they gave you a lot of like.
You're really gonna compare.
I want you to know I'm getting whenever you say Rengoku, I'm getting goosebumps. Every time you say Rengoku, my goosebumps come out because that moment was wild. What?
That's a fact.
Listen, this battle to me is like the best battle that they've had in the show so far.
Yeah, that's right.
And compared to all the others battles we've seen in JJK, I would take that consensus of multiple battles and like even different instances of their animation and put it right next to Rengoku. Like that to me is what I put right next to it. Gojo's Hollow Purple to me, I can say that to me was like damn near equal.
I disagree, man. I think from the beginning that the animation and the anime was great.
It's a pretty anime to look at in general.
Like,
I feel like JJK is the same.
But
No,
it's interesting.
JJK
What you're
great.
saying it was for Demon Slayer, right?
Yeah, Demon Slayer. Like I rewatched it twice, and when I rewatched it again, I'm just like, yo, like this is really good. Like yeah, it had its time where I guess it was overhyped, but that's because you know how people do when something's new. They just rush to it and they say crazy stuff. But I feel like the quality of the anime story and everything.
And it's more stylized.
Yeah.
Cursed energy is a better power system than breathing styles.
Even if I didn't want to sit, I have to sit for that. I know better. Watch too much anime to debate this.
Oh man.
She's dying to talk about this.
This is if I had to take one
My
L,
man's having a hard time. He's trying to get jiggy.
I'm weak. If I took one L today, it'd be this question. There's no way breast is beating cursed energy. I can't.
Because the breath is a freestyle form versus the cursed energy. They have domain expansion. They built
too
up all
much.
the
Yeah,
layers.
it's
They
too
have
much.
the black flash, and they talk about how you get to those different levels, and then they have different powers that you have to explain, like Gojo's, for example.
Exactly.
He has to be explained about like the snapping and then the different
like
forces.
there's not a breath of infinity, so that's the problem here. You see?
And all the unique domains, like there's unique breathing styles, but the breakdown of the domains, the character versus like how this person has this breathing style, isn't as well written.
I was just gonna say this. There's no way Breath of Mist is stopping Infinite Void. That's just,
Yeah.
it's not happening.
It's a different conversation.
That's why I said the power scaling is completely different. You know what I'm saying?
I just think, when I look at cursed energy, I feel like we haven't seen a power system this in depth since then. I'm not gonna hold you. Like,
You're right.
There's
You're right.
The fact that Gojo has created a technique that literally stops everything from coming to him.
That's right.
Like that he feels is a threat is like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? And then they go as far as science, bro. Reversal and red and blue cursed energy are positives and negatives.
Yeah,
And
red
you
and blue
combine
makes
it, like they're literally trying to get into science with magic, with like
that
you
right
know
there, man.
categories. You know what I'm saying? Like even Megumi being a cursed demon user,
Yeah,
like shadow user.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like from the curses having their own specific abilities and their curses.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, because when you talk about the breath smell is like everybody has a specific breath, and then we barely see the off. Like Inosuke's breath is probably the most off-brand that we're gonna see in a Demon Slayer. On top of that, breaths are kind of pointless if you don't have the Nichiren tools to go with it.
What made Demon Slayer stand out from the rest of the new gen anime?
To me, what made Demon Slayer stand out from the rest of the new gen anime is just in the very first episode, the way it came in. A lot of animes don't start off from a first person point of view.
I will say I'm curious as to why it took you a bit to jump ship to this, though. If you want to explain yourself real quick.
The reason it took me a little while is because I'm not necessarily sure if I would say that breathing is the power system necessarily in the show as opposed to how it's going, because we still see that there's actual pressure in the actual presence of people. So I don't know if breathing is it. I think breathing is a technique in which they use to, I guess, go with their ability, as opposed to some people who can breathe and are stronger know how to use breathing to heal their body and stuff like that. Like, that's different than saying breathing is the actual power system. So I'm not sure of how those things are actual systems. And that's why it took a little while to sit down, as opposed to what we know curses are the actual, that's it. Like you said, it's literally almost nen-ish. Like, we know that's what it is, as opposed to in Demon Slayer, I don't know if that's what it really is doing.
So this far into Demon Slayer, what are we calling the actual power system?
I can see it's
I'm not disagreeing with you.
because the demons have their own different styles.
Yeah,
right? So
but
they have
that's why I'm
11
asking him, because I
arts.
don't even know where to put it.
So
Well, everything originates from flame, so that is
From
or
the
sun. So there is a power
Yeah.
level. But
Exactly.
if you say system, it's not like chakra is in Naruto, not like cursed energy is in JJK. The demon arts, the breathing form, like you said, I would agree that is a technique.
So,
Can I have my disagreeer?
the sole disagreeer.
Hey, bro.
Yeah, you go first off.
So
Rick.
bad guy.
So bad guy. Tell me about Strive real quick.
So
we gotta wait.
the reason why I disagree is because I personally don't feel that like cursed energy is like that unique compared to like Demon Slayer and the breathing style. Because like you brought up like Nen and what's his name? Gon, he powers up his hands and his fists, and I feel like that's similar to what Yuuji is doing.
Very simple.
So now, like y'all said, you have the breathing technique that not only does it bring out these elemental abilities for them to enhance their attacks, but they can heal. Zenitsu, he was slowing down the process of the poison to make sure, he didn't die as quick. And for me, I feel like that's just a lot cooler because it's more unique.
It's more natural.
Yeah, I think, yes.
I
Yeah, it's
could
natural.
agree with you that it is a more unique style because no anime really has no anime refers to their fighting as like their core like ability anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like the way they learn, like you teach breathing almost on like a martial art level. Then where cursed energy, Toto's just like, look, bro, what you gotta do?
Yeah, it's like, I can teach you that.
It only gets really like crazy unique when you get to Gojo's level. Then it's like, okay, now you have to break it down.
But that's the problem is Demon Slayer doesn't have that. Demon Slayer isn't scalable. The arts represent
That's why I
different
asked him that,
forms,
actually.
but yeah, they can't be scaled. And when you talk about an anime, you always talk about power scaling. You're enjoying the different arts as they like combat each other. But in JJK, you're actually seeing like, okay, I have to be this level to bring out a domain expansion, and mine is only this big compared to theirs is that big. So you're seeing actual scalability.
Form someone else's domain.
You're right.
Jujutsu Kaisen has better music than Demon Slayer.
I actually think they're on par.
I couldn't even tell you the opening of JJK.
Yeah.
The Demon Slayer opening, fire.
Dang, I think they even, man. Damn.
Oh no, it's coming back to me now. It's
It's
not
okay.
as iconic.
Nah, I think.
Demon Slayer is a little more.
Well, okay, I'll just say, I think it's definitely a big preference thing. Now, for me personally, I'm not a big anime music, like outro, intro guy. Like, this is me, and everybody hates me for it. It's an opening certain stuff. No, I really don't. There's a few openings that really hit me. The Demon Slayer opening, after you heard it a million times, I skipped it every other time after that.
After like
You feel
episode
me?
40.
You feel
I'm
me?
like, I'm
Now, the JJK opening for their first season,
I didn't skip it.
I personally jammed out to that a lot
Of
harder
course,
than
you
the
got to
Demon
the
Slayer.
ending, of course.
Yeah, and then the ending, you're just like, oh, they just literally busted out a jazz routine of Gojo and
Exactly.
playing.
Word.
Now, if you talk about battle music, and things of that nature, I feel like it's preference. Like they give you it's a different time frame altogether. So they're giving you like a more samurai sound. Like
that's why I said the styles of the show.
A very old even when you fight 19, but in the battles in JJK, it's almost a little bit like rock and roll a little bit in there, a little beat to it. So I personally, that's my preference. I personally like the JJK music a little better.
Can I have my disagreeers?
Thought you about to stay standing again. Trying to get my sit
Well,
down there.
Everybody in music, I feel like you guys should talk first, just so we get your take of it, because I know you guys are musicians or music artists, so I'd love to hear.
For pointing that out.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
You go first, though. I went first last time.
That's perfectly fine. So the thing with Demon Slayer over JJK music is that as a musician, as I'm a guitarist, that's literally what I do. And so as a guitarist, I'm listening to everything in the background all the time. And it's not just the openings or the endings. To me, it's actually what's happening during the show. Background music makes everything. As a fighting game lover, background music makes everything better. It's so good. So I'm watching all the moments in the fights in the beginning and stuff like that, and it doesn't actually pick up until about Gojo. And then about that's when you finally hear something in the background. I actually remember watching with somebody, I was like, oh, and it was like, what? When Yuuji's finally fighting later on, I'm like, oh wait, there's actually a good background song. And it took a while for that to happen, as opposed to Demon Slayer, where the music is purposeful. And even the composition is amazing, to them picking the voices that are singing very slowly. The song that plays when my boy Zenitsu goes sixfold is bananas. I must have listened to that song a million times after the first time I heard it. And then of course we all know the song that played when he was about to slice my man Rui his neck off. So those songs have so much purpose that it's hard to forget them when I hear the show. So whenever I go into a serious moment in Demon Slayer, I'm excited because I'm like, oh, this song might play. As opposed to Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm like, I don't know what they're gonna play yet. It might be good or it might not. But Demon Slayer, I'm like, this is about to slap. And I know it's gonna slap. Right. And everything about it. And they build up a certain way. It's the composition that makes it work for me. So it does go back to what you said though. It's definitely based off the time periods in which the shows are kind of portraying that makes it different. So that's why Demon Slayer is a lot more dramatic, because it's a lot more traditional Japanese. So that's why it's a very slow buildup where you hear the voices coming first, then you hear the drums start to hit, and then everything falls in line as it's composed across the entire thing. As opposed to Jujutsu Kaisen is very much in your face from when it starts, and that's why it lacks kind of that dramatic buildup that makes these things feel more important. As opposed to Demon Slayer, everything feels important because of how the animation is, the art style is, and then the music just goes, I got you, bro, let's throw you over the moon. And it just hits just like that every time, and that's why I got it.
I will say this, I agree with everything he just said, and then on top of that, for the shows being in two different styles, I realized while rewatching them, Demon Slayer, it invokes a lot more emotion than JJK. JJK's soundtrack, they're mainly going to, when I watch Gojo versus Jogo, they finally started playing a lot more background music.
That's when
they switched their background music really fast too. In that one fighting scene, there was at least 3 to 4 different songs being played. Yep. Now, Demon Slayer, they're gonna pick one, they're gonna invoke that, they're gonna find that emotion, like when it was Tanjiro digging deep in his brain, or not even that, when Tanjiro's mother was trying to wake up Nezuko so she could help Tanjiro. The music right there was like, oh shoot, I could tell it's like a nostalgic feeling. And she's getting a nostalgic vibe because that's her mother talking to her, but her mother's supposed to be dead. But she could still feel that her mother's energy within and all that other stuff. I feel like the music for Demon Slayer, it suits way more better for the samurai time, the era of the Bushido warrior and all that. JJK is for more if you like JJK type of soundtracks. I want to hear if I see something going down on the block. Oh shoot, it's a shootout. What's going on?
Well, I will say with that in JJK, you're talking, most of the fight scenes, they got the hard-hitting music, especially when Yuuji and Nobara were fighting the last curse, when they were switching back and forth, cutting back and forth, that build up, that the really hard-hitting music. That fits for JJK because I don't think we've really seen, aside from Junpei, RIP, had that emotional moment. Whereas Demon Slayer, obviously, because Tanjiro being the pure soul he is, he's always having those moments with the demons, and obviously in those times where he's trying to console the demon in their death, you gotta have that music that fits that. I'm an editor for WWE, so I edit a lot of packages, the hype packages. So
like the hardest thing about editing to anything is music. Like like you could edit like, you know, a hype piece and you need, you know, whatever hype track, but if you have like drama, if you want to build the drama, how do you build the drama? And you can have the wrestlers or whoever, the characters talk, but what's really gonna make people feel a certain way? And that's music. Music is, and it is because like I'll say it like this. My favorite fight scene in anime is not, I know we're talking about JJK and Demon Slayer, but my favorite fight scene in all of anime is Kakashi vs. Obito.
Come on.
That's what I say. That is because
everybody handshake here.
And that is because aside from like the beautiful animation, the choreography is insane. And aside from Obito talking smack when he stole Kakashi's hand to do the fireball jutsu, none of them had to say a word to invoke the emotion, because obviously the way they edited it and the music wasn't even that loud. It was just that slow buildup of like an orchestral score. And as these two rivals, these brothers that grew up together and, you know, are fighting to the death now, the music is what's making you feel like, damn, this is really tough.
That's exactly how I feel about season 2 One Punch Man. Anytime Garo was on the screen, like the music really carried through.
I agree with y'all guys. Like, I feel like, if I paid attention more, I'll be right there with y'all. I just feel like as a person who, you know, I'm kind of like oblivious, not oblivious, but like the music is kind of integrated, so you kind of passes you.
Yeah,
so you really only focus on the outros and intros, and that's why I be like, man, this hitting. But then, I agree with y'all actually.
Jujutsu Kaisen has better female characters than Demon Slayer.
Down.
Female characters in Demon Slayer? Yeah, I guess.
All right.
That's unfair.
I know why you're saying that. I know why you're saying that.
It's the question.
It's the question, though. It's the question, man.
Look, I want to say this. I just want to say this. If we're just talking about what we're allowed to talk about, season 1 in the movie, you are correct. If we're talking about Demon Slayer going on, even though there's not as much females, Demon Slayer puts in rep for their females.
Unless they introduce like 4 more crazy female characters in the manga, I still would give it to JJK.
Well, Pari obviously is on board with you in the terms of being up to date with the anime and manga. So the fact that she's saying JJK characters.
Let's start there. Let's start right there.
I'm not saying nothing. I can't talk spoilers. I can't say nothing.
It's JJK for female writing. Nezuko for Demon Slayer, she's fun to watch. She's incredible. She's passionate. But she, as much as I personally love her, she plays into the Asian female submissive role.
Of course.
And when you look at Nobara, she doesn't touch that at all. In fact, Nobara prioritizes herself so much that we often call her like the B word when you first meet her, until you realize she's caring. But compared to Demon Slayer, where most anime, the trope for women is they have to be overly compassionate, JJK doesn't write that, because women aren't always overly compassionate, nor do we always have to be. And so Nobara is intentional, and that's what I love to see. Like when you never see this in female characters. Like they will never hurt themselves. Like, okay, Nezuko got hurt as a matter of consequence when she was fighting, especially like with the kickball and like when she got her leg chopped. But when you look at Nobara drilling a nail into her wrist, you never see a female character intentionally hurt herself, because women are always valued on their looks, their beauty, and like keeping like a seamless look. So to see a female character in writing intentionally harm herself to make a point to win a fight, you never see that. And that's what should have happened in a lot of other shonen.
Which do you prefer, old gen anime or new gen anime?
The old gen being Bleach, One Piece, and Naruto. As much as I love their headstrong storytelling, I prefer the new gen. So MHA, AOT, Jujutsu Kaisen is going to be up there. And the reason I do is because the main characters in the new generation are, 1, more emotionally aware, but then 2, they actually have more of a moral dilemma than we see any of the old characters deal with.
And let me talk about one other thing too, real quick. The curse that Toto and Yuuji fought is a woman.
Yeah.
That is enough for me to be like, this is one of the most like intricate villains that for a first season to be a woman, and they give you a masculine impression because she's not human. But it's like, she is like still thinking like the voice, like just the fact that Mahito's has to tell her like, I think you would enjoy a battle if you got into it. It's because I feel like they're trying to give you like give her that little bit of trope of like, oh, I'm a woman, like I'm not fighting just to fight like you men. I'm not out here trying to just, you know, do it for the glory. I have a purpose. I'm trying to save the
But
earth.
she enjoyed brawling.
Yeah, but she was like, I'm out here, like I'm in this
We're
battle.
all these
And I'm like, oh yeah, nah, this
And
she's
you know,
great.
credit to Shinobu, like she's not.
That's
Women
what I was
don't
about
have
to get
brawl to be considered
Yeah,
a part
we
of the
love Shinobu.
storyline.
We
They
love
don't
Shinobu.
have to become like men to be considered valuable. And Nobara's not doing that. She's fighting her own way. And Shinobu definitely also brings her own technique.
Come on, say she does exactly what you just said about
Nobara.
Yeah, about her. Shinobu does the same thing, but I cannot talk
But
spoilers.
see,
so I'm
the
not gonna
difference
say
is
nothing
like,
more.
even though you're saying Shinobu does the same thing, she is
does.
doing it to her capacity,
Yeah.
but she is still limited in the scope of female writing.
And then even I feel like even her persona,
In a sense,
like,
yeah, in a sense.
I feel like her persona, like they, like you said, like they give her kind of like that Nezuko kind of like, you know, like.
Are we talking
different-
about Nezuko
I'm
or
talking about
Shinobu?
Shinobu. I'm talking about they give her a
Alright,
gentle,
let's
they
talk.
give her a gentle persona, like even though we know she's lethal as hell.
But she's not as gentle. She's
And we
very
have-
witty. You saw her from the first scene. You get to see Shinobu for real. She's picking on Gyu. Like she lets it be known. Like
Yeah.
okay, she's a smart. She has a smart mouth. You get what I'm saying? So she's not.
Yeah.
But
She
that's
the way
not-
she carries herself is just different. Cause she's like
She's
she's
a
more like
mentor,
this. You
though.
know what I'm saying? What you
She's
say?
not. She's a mentor though. She's not. Mentors can have abilities and they can be pronounced. Like Tsunade is a mentor. She's an amazing female character. But the fact is that she doesn't have a role in moving the plot forward.
Oh, but see, if we're talking about in that sense, yeah, I completely agree with you. In that sense, I completely agree with you because there's not a lot of females. There's like I said in Demon Slayer, there's not even a lot of females that talk like that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Kanal doesn't speak. She flips a coin to decide if you're worth the time. You get what I'm saying? So they don't even speak like that. Nezuko's the most. That's what I'm saying. As far as personalities of being out there, yeah, you got old girl, you got Maki, you got Mai.
But that again is the question.
Yeah, that's what I
itself,
said.
and
In
why-
that sense, I
yeah.
completely agree. But if we're just gonna go off, if we're talking about female characters in the general aspect of their strength, what they can do, and whatnot, then
Yeah,
I
but-
can't just leave it out
But
because
also-
there's so
but
much that
The
happens. in
overall, the
Demon
overall
Slayer.
scope still it lends it to itself to JJK no matter what then, because it's the overall that we're talking about and the amount of them that all kind of act a certain way, because we didn't even get to Maki.
Yeah,
We didn't even get to Maki. We didn't get to homegirl who's fangirling over Gojo, but she's still really pop. I love her.
Yeah.
Like she's amazing, and she's fangirling, but then has to be like, oh wait, I still got this though. But I'm fangirling. Like the whole dynamic with Maki and her sister, and Maki going the full lengths to be what she
And we
wants to
still
be.
got the two
And-
mentored Jujutsu
Ex-
tech.
we didn't even get to that yet, but
I wanna
but
get into that, man.
Nobara in herself changes the rules because, like she said, Nobara's whole thing. First of all, they wrote that with a specific thing in mind. They were like, let's get all the fans we can of this as a time. We know they did this on purpose, but I still am a fan of it. Nobara's whole thing was like, you think beauty is based off what the world thinks. I think beauty is making things work for me, and it's about what I think, and that's why she can hurt herself. That's why she doesn't care about that, and that's why through the whole show she makes jokes about people like when they I think when she first showed up and the guy was looking for a pretty girl, she's like, you don't think I'm pretty? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's her going through all those, like, Nobara is literally like probably my third favorite character in the show. I love her when she's doing things because it's always in a way that makes you know that it's about her, and it's always done in a way that's like over the top for what everybody else thinks is normal, but to her it's like,
And
this
she's
is
not
me.
chasing a man.
Yeah,
Not
no, yeah,
serving
I
a man.
agree.
She's not dependent on a man, or neither is she
She
being
got
relied on.
Yeah, JJK has it for the simple fact that there's way more female characters. One, and then two, the top three characters right there of JJK. There's a female in there. We got Zenitsu and Inosuke and Tanjiro. Like we don't even really get into it, and then Nezuko doesn't even talk. So we lose. I lose this battle right. So that's what it is.
The Tanjiro, Inosuke, Zenitsu trio is better than the Itadori, Megumi, and Nobara trio.
I gotta stand up. I respect y'all, but if y'all sit down. Are you serious?
Yeah, I feel him though. He rides for his team, but I gotta hear him out, man. Let them give this man his
I mean,
words.
For me, I like the bond that they all have together. Like they feel like they're like really brothers. And with these guys, so far from what I've seen in the anime, they just, you know, they're just like on a team. So I like that friendship that they
I'm on the
have.
bandwagon.
Who is your favorite character from Demon Slayer and why?
My favorite character from Demon Slayer is Inosuke, and I like him because you know he's self-taught, he's strong, he's a little foolish, but at the end of the day, he's really smart.
I just love Inosuke as a character.
Oh,
in
he's my
the trio.
favorite.
it's like you don't really see a character like that. Like the trio that JJK has, even though we just spoke like Nobara's different and like Megumi's kind of like everyone knows him, like the Sasuke and like Yuji's Naruto. It's like okay, but like Zenitsu's a crybaby. Inosuke is like just mental and we love it. And then Tanjiro is like emotional, but he's like also a leader. It's just a unique dynamic, and it's almost I prefer it because I haven't seen it before.
I love all that for what they said, and I'm gonna go into it on a power scaling basis now because Zenitsu, he's moving very, very fast, and there's also, you know, in JJK people can move fast, but I don't think nobody in the trio is keeping up with Zenitsu. I'll go ahead and just start. I'll start a war right now. Yeah, once you fall asleep, I don't think. Because look, you get 10-fold, 6-fold, whatever fold the first thunderclap breath, he's doing it. Then you have Inosuke. Now he's might. He's just pure grit off of might. Like he just wants to. He's here to get it done. He doesn't want to do all the sneaky, whatever plans. He's just trying to go straight through the front door and knock down the front door and get right back at it. He reminds me kind of Luffy and Kid sometimes.
He pretty much perfected his own style.
Exactly.
Too.
So you can't really. There's no real flaw in his blade because he makes his own skill. And then if I go into the third one, Tanjiro could do a bit of everything. You will also get him to learn that in the future. But for the most part, Tanjiro he's using water and he's using fire. So he's like Demon Slayer's Todoroki in a sense.
He really tap into his fire.
So exactly, those are all with those three abilities. If I pin them up to JJK and their abilities, it's an okay fight. It's an okay battle. I ain't gonna say there's a clear decisive winner.
Can I have my disagreeers?
Is he in a new category?
Is he in a new category?
All right, I'm interested.
Yeah, sure. I think it's definitely a preference type of thing.
For sure.
You know, I feel like if I was to say what's the more entertaining trio, I gotta give it to Demon Slayer. They're more entertaining. They will give you whether it's sad, happy, cute, like they give you a little more entertainment wise. Now, my preference as a trio, I like a lot of what these three have going on in terms of they're just like, it's almost like they're soldiers on a battlefield. Like when they knew Itadori died, or they felt that he died, they were just like, yo, like, soldier gone, RIP, you and me, never losing another person ever as long as, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the whole mentality changed. Like, even though they spent less time together, they haven't always been through as much as the other trio, it's almost like they're in, like, a war zone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're not dependent, like, Demon Slayer, they're dependent.
And it's almost as if, obviously, as viewers, we know Yuuji is, like, the protagonist, but to them, they're like,
yeah, we just lost our homie,
like,
like, first a couple battles. Like, this is some real stuff. And I also, like, if you break down, like, their, like, I would say their coordination, like, almost instinctively, Tanjiro and Inosuke are carrying the trio. Zetsu only carries when he goes to sleep.
He's the finesser.
And because of that, I feel like as a trio, you're the weak link, bro. Where it's like for Itadori, Nobara, and Megumi, it's really almost no weak link there.
That's
it's really
why
like
your comparison of these are soldiers on a battlefield and they bring their own talent as well as their own goals to the table and their own like character development that they have to work through. Versus in Demon Slayer, they're a team. The whole point is like they're not waiting for Zenitsu to carry them. They're working together to how do we solve this
They're not even
together.
a real
But
team.
that's
They just like
not a
met each
real
other and
team.
teamed up.
They're
They're
not
not
even
even
a
an organized team.
But
When you
that's
look
why
at it,
it's
when they
hard.
went to the forest,
No,
right?
I
When you look at it and they went to the forest, Zenitsu, for the life of him, was not touching that forest because he was
I would
scared.
say that Megumi, Itadori, and Nobara are a great team. I feel like because they can hang on their own when they get together, it's almost like who is going to see them?
But
You know
a
what I'm
team
saying?
means you need to work together. And they do.
But
But
Zenitsu,
they don't have to. And
But
that's kind of like where Demon Slayer, they have to work together.
But then that's what I'm saying. I feel like Tanjiro and Inosuke are the real team here, and they bring
Right,
Zenitsu along.
You're right. I agree with you. Because he doesn't.
He's in there. He goes to sleep. He fights his family that he fights. But like even on the training, like bro had to literally like if the demon's ability wasn't putting him to sleep, he would run around like, oh, what's gonna happen? You feel me? While Tanjiro and Inosuke are up there handling business.
Yeah.
You feel me? Now Megumi, like he wasn't with them when they fought the last curse, right? He was, I forgot exactly what he was doing. He was going off.
He was doing whack-a-mole.
Right. So, but I'm saying, but it's like you can almost look at that as like a team effort. Megumi, we need you to hold down this curse. Me and Nobara are going over here to hold down
That's
this
what he
curse.
said. He said, Itadori, go over there. We're gonna hold this down.
He did that for the sake of plot, though.
But see, look, go ahead. You
I'm
didn't
just
speak
saying,
it.
like,
You didn't speak it.
there's no real rhyme or reason that Zenitsu falls asleep for the sake of, all right, we need to show him that he's
Has some skill.
But look, that's all. But you're leaving that up to plot. Now, this is the thing about this here, right? Zenitsu stayed asleep. Inosuke, Tanjiro up on the train. They're doing what they gotta do. Zenitsu stayed asleep. He damn near ain't move until Nezuko needed his help. Now, it is more, I see what you're saying, it is a team thing. Problem is, how do we get Zenitsu on board with this team if he don't go to sleep first?
Can I have my neutral?
Yeah, what's up, man?
What's going
up?
on? Yeah, hold the store.
All right, so the reason that I couldn't sit down is because it's not necessarily that I believe one is better than the other, as opposed to how very different and very similar they are. Now, because I watch anime with the very intention of understanding characters as opposed to plot, because I love characters and character development, watching both of them grow as family meant a lot to me. Like, I really enjoyed it. The fact that when Yuuji died, they had a bond that was created between Megumi and Nobara, and when he came back, they were like, you could tell it was like, I'm gonna kill him. Like, he should come back like that. And then even rewatching Demon Slayer, seeing Zenitsu put his body on the line against Inosuke to protect what was in Tanjiro's box because of not just necessarily him understanding Tanjiro, but his hearing and the gentle sound that comes from Tanjiro made him feel like I need to do this. And as such, all these characters pull themselves along emotionally and build each other's character on both sides. I love that in characters and development. Like, just to see that was amazing. To watch them eating pizza with Megumi when he was healing, that was a big moment for me. And it shows that they needed that to grow as people. Even Gojo knew that. He's like, listen, you can't see them until we're done with you because I ain't bringing you back yet. They needed to grow, and he knew that. The same thing in Demon Slayer. And Inosuke is a wild thing from the mountains and is literally calming down because of Tanjiro. Zenitsu is a whole scaredy cat, but when it came time for it, because of Tanjiro's character, he was like, no, this box here, I'm protecting it. And that's the only episode where Zenitsu explains something without whining. That's when you realize that Zenitsu is actually still a person without whining, is because I have to protect this for the friend that I've made. And then after that, Inosuke is like, okay, when he's going and fighting the thing on the train, he doesn't, like, he's paying attention. The whole he's doing his wild thing, but he's paying attention to Tanjiro the entire time. So once Tanjiro's about to kill himself and he shouldn't, that's when he's like, whoa, what are you doing? Because he's watching him. It's them growing as family and seeing it. And of course, the whole time, Tanjiro was giving Inosuke the compliments, right? It was him understanding what family was. And watching that on both sides is why I couldn't pick between them. Yeah, I think they're very different, but it's just them creating that bond. Because I don't even see it as just like the fights. It's me seeing them grow as a family. And that's why I was like, they're not the same, but it's so like they're almost parallel in how they're building each other up. And I love that. So I couldn't pick. I was like,
I don't think there's a clear decisive.
That's a good way to put it.
There's a lot of
soldiers versus like a family dynamic.
But
Both teams.
But the thing is, I don't think they're teams. Like the Demon Slayer guys, they were together, so they got sent on missions. They didn't really become a team. They became family because of the experience. The same thing with them. They were supposed to just be students in a group based off their skill level. They became family because of what happened.
That's why I was saying as far as the
I wouldn't say it, but it is almost like that. They like them losing Yuuji was a big thing for them. Them getting him back was a big thing too. I was
she
like,
tried to act like it didn't hurt her, but she was low key.
Yeah, they had a moment.
That's some family.
I also think I just want to point to, it is also a big thing like on their sensei too. Like Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu
There's no sensei
out here. You can say Rengoku's like the closest thing they have right now.
Yeah, but he
or
died.
even Nobara, but like you really can't even say that. Now, Gojo is like cultivating these three because Gojo is like, oh yeah, I gotta have Itadori with me. You feel me? But then he's like, ooh, the way he works with, the way Sukuna reacts to Megumi, oh, I gotta keep them both around. But then it's like, oh wait, Nobara, I literally brought her in, I believe, or is that what happened?
She came into the school and ended up with his group.
I just think
so that's like a man adopting 3 puppies and being like, I'm gonna get these guys to work together because I like these breeds versus a Demon Slayer. It's like, this is a pack of stray dogs that found each other and they're happy.
That's exactly what it is. Because even what he's saying for Gojo, right? You see how Gojo moves. 1 minute Gojo could be serious, next minute he could be goofy. That works so well with someone like Yuuji, who's always on kind of like a childish, kiddish kind of type of time. And then Nobara, that works kind of with her as well. Fuji, he's always a serious guy. And then that's what Gojo's there for, because he could be serious and then he could die it down and hey, stop being so tight all the damn time. You know, I think that plays so much into what they're doing. Because in Demon Slayer, if the crow came and said, "Hey, Inosuke, you gotta go left while these two go right," or is that story even something in Demon Slayer anymore? Because there's no sensei to say, "Hey, when you're done with your mission, come report back in."
JJK is the same way. They can split them up. They don't have to.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though.
Gojo
There's a
keeps
sensei.
together
That's what he's saying. Look, there's a sensei. There's someone there that's
I
keeping
just-
a balance
it's like
between
a
the three
return point,
people.
right?
There's no one
But
balancing
that's
these
why
three
I think
people.
Demon Slayer is stronger because they have to rely on each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think their bond is
JJK
deeper.
doesn't have to do that because they have different.
And I think that's why
Yeah, I think their bond is
But
deeper. I don't
they
know if
can't
they're
rely on
See, I don't know
each other
who's stronger than
alone.
what, but
But
I
I
know
think
their bond
Because
is
their
deeper.
individualism,
But
I think
that's
as a
like-
group, they're better.
If I was gonna
What?
trust one group with my life, I would trust JJK for their ability because they're each independently strong. But passion-wise, like, oh, these guys are not gonna let me die. I would probably
That's what I'm
choose
saying.
Slayer.
Their bond is
But
deeper.
I think JJK. I haven't read the manga. I'm just going based on what I'm saying. In JJK, I wouldn't lack the passion. Yuuji has a very specific passion that rubs off on the other two, and we see it happening. And more than that, Gojo is cultivating them as people. The biggest thing that I see in JJK between Nanami and all the other people who seem to be involved with them is that they always remind them, you are still kids. I've never seen that in the anime. Like even in Naruto, they don't really do that. In JJK, Gojo was reminding him, you are still a child. Like when something happens to him, when he's like freaking out because he had to kill the things that were mutated, right? Nanami doesn't even look like the type. He doesn't look like the type to even deal with that. But he saw him, he was like, okay, I gotta go talk to him. I need to let you know what's going on. This is why I'm trying to explain this to you. And Gojo tells Megumi when he's always trying to put his life on, he's like, listen, that's stupid. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're sitting down, he's like, that's dumb. It doesn't make that much sense if you're not doing this. I like the way that they're cultivating people, and that's why they get closer, is because Gojo's cultivating people. I know there's a different like mobile or vehicle, but whatever it is that's making them better as people is what's making them better as family and a group. And I think both of them have that in different dynamics that kind of come out similar, and you can kind of see why these three people want to work together after all the things happen. And that's why I
personally feel like their bond, the Demon Slayer bond, is going to be deeper because there's no sensei making them be friends or putting them all in the situation, putting them all in the classroom together. They're kind of like, okay,
That's
you're
pretty
here.
much
I'm just
what
gonna
my preference is.
Yeah, I'm
But
just
it's
gonna
like,
embrace
let
you.
me ask you a quick question. It's like, for me, if like somebody asked me if you had to take one trio from each, who do you take? I would have a harder time taking someone from the JJK trio than be like, oh yeah, because that's right here.
Yeah. I agree.
I agree. And here's my main final point for just me personally. Why weren't you out there with Inosuke and Tanjiro watching Rengoku go fight for his life?
Seriously. No,
The
seriously.
people are okay. They're fine. Everybody's good. These two are witnessing history.
And technically-
and we all need to be here.
And remember, look,
Right.
I'm gonna add to your point. I argued this while watching the movie with some friends. Remember when they were like, "Yo," Tanjiro was like, "Inosuke, run to his head, like you gotta take him out, like run to Rengoku, like run to him." Technically, Zenitsu was the guy for that moment. Your breath is about moving that fast.
I know. They're like, no, he like move your
Even if you was at that, even if you couldn't use the exact breath, you're telling me that you're Zenitsu being by Zenitsu's breath, he's naturally supposed to be
bro,
faster.
These
than-
are moments where
like, they did it all for
the
grace.
trio is needed, whereas
Exactly, I agree.
Whereas it's like the trio of JJK is like
But that's like saying, like, okay, yeah, if there was a monster that they could take on, and Gojo showed up, Gojo is being like the Rengoku symbol here, and like they couldn't take on, it doesn't mean that like Nobara or Megumi have to be there because they couldn't have made an impact.
but they
anyway.
would have tried to be there. I
No,
feel like
they literally like they're like, oh, I should jump in, and then Tanjiro was like, we literally can't because we will just get.
Yeah, but then Goku in that situation was like no, when Asuka had his
Yeah, the last
that's
scene,
when
the last
Tanjiro and
scene.
Inosuke
And he
took
said,
the
move
initiative.
towards him.
it was like,
Yeah,
now we gotta do something.
Move
So that's
towards
why
him.
if they had Zenitsu there with his godlike speed,
It could have made it
could've
different.
been there.
Even when the demon was running out the woods and Tanjiro had to lunge his
Zenitsu
blade,
could have caught his
Zenitsu
ass
could have
running towards the.
Right. Thunderclap and flash. Gone.
Zenitsu was the least
been the least injured. I said this.
I
Yo.
think you're giving him too much credit because we already.
No,
This
I
is
had
turned
this
to
argument.
Zenitsu
I had this argument.
slander.
I had this argument. I'm telling
And he's
you.
a
I just feel like man, Zenitsu, if we put you in any other trio, you are
Yeah,
really
he not.
you are
Yeah,
really
he's falling
lagging.
behind.
Whereas
He lacks.
Nezuko's already strong. Like she's super strong. So why would you need Zenitsu to also be strong?
Right, you know,
Thank
you guys-
you.
Good job.
Hey yo.
Pillar came to represent. The pillars
Yo,
came to represent.
yo,
Look, I thought I was the only one.
Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys follow everyone here on their social medias, show them some love, and a big shout out to Jubilee for the inspiration. Now you guys let me know down in the comment section below, are you going with Demon Slayer or are you going with Jujutsu Kaisen? And with that, we'll see you next time. Peace.